Welcome to the Monday evening master class. We're going to spend the first part of class having a talk with the continuation of the Ayurvedic cleanse. So we talked about why we cleanse. We talked about the first stage of cleansing. And then last week we talked about the second stage of the cleanse. And if you're not really sure what those are, I will put those links in the YouTube video here so that you can go back and review all of those and you understand it. Ayurvedic cleanse is not like a Western cleanse. And I will be honest and say, you know what, when people are really just wanting something really simple, I will say, go down to Whole Foods, Sprouts, or whatever, and get a 2-week, I think Trader Joe's even has one, get a 2-week, 3-week cleanse. They give you the herbs and all of that. It's not specific to the Constitution. You'll get some results. You'll hopefully change your diet so that you feel the benefits. But an Ayurvedic cleanse is very, very specific to the individual. And we are doing things to really help remove excesses that show up in the body as the dosha. So excess vata, excess ether and air. Excess ether and air means that you are experiencing the qualities of ether and air in your body. You're excessively dry, maybe systemically dry. You're dealing with dehydration. You're dealing with dry skin. You're dealing with eczema. You're dealing with, just lots anxiety. You're dealing with lack of fluids like in your body. You're just feeling parched all the time. There's all these different vata qualities. You're lightheaded, you're scattered, you're worried, you have doubt all the time, fear all the time. You're waking up in the middle of the night, you have insomnia. And typically with vata, those individuals are waking up between like 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. and they're waking up sometimes having nightmares, waking up having fear and anxiety. So, or they just like waking up and they can't go back to sleep. That's all vata. That's all vata. And there's a lot of other stuff that can happen with vata, a lot of stuff. Vata has a hard time. They get overwhelmed. They have a hard time stabilizing. That's what they have a hard time doing. The cleanse is meant to help vata. Now, there are some people, if you have so much vata that you're dealing with severe depletion, a cleanse would not be appropriate. It's counterproductive to helping you rejuvenate. But if you're just, dealing with anxiety, insomnia, those kinds of things, what we want to do is remove the excess vata in the body. And I had talked about it in one of the first talks that we had, which is if you have all these different doshas, the vata dosha is ether and air, it's going to show up in the digestive tract in a different area than the other doshas. So vata is going to show up typically in the large intestines, having symptoms like constipation and bloating and gas. A lot of times vata will skip meals. Vata gets lightheaded though and anxious if they don't eat, but they're kind of all over the place. They eat, then they don't eat. They tend to be the people that graze, eat all day long. And the problem with that is it's never an kind of a meal. So they're always in this state of just anxiousness, like literally their nervous system is on edge. And what they need substantial nourishment. They need meals that are going to stick to them. A lot of those vata individuals are attracted to really light foods, popcorn, salads, foods that are not going to stick to their bones. And they need food that sticks to their bones. They need food that is going to stay in the system for a while, get absorbed, and help build tissues. So that's vata. Pitta is going to show up obviously with fire as their dominant element, and they're going to have fiery types of not just emotions, but physical type of stuff, rashes and inflammation, infections, heat symptoms. And what happens with the digestion for a Pitta person is it will show up as a heat symptom like indigestion, heartburn. The word burn is even in the word. That's telling you too much fire. And so we want to do the cleanse that helps remove all that heat for that Pitta person, because that leads to bigger problems down the line. Okay, like just inflammation throughout the entire body. And we don't want that. And by the way, you know, arthritis and all the rheumatoid arthritis, those are actually Pitta conditions. So that means too much heat. Okay, then you have, oh, and then Pitta shows up in the small intestines, right? Small intestines gets too much heat, and that then goes into the heartburn and all of that. Okay, then you have Kapha. Kapha is made up of the water and the earth. And the Kapha individual will have their digestive imbalance in the stomach. And that means that they're going to have lack of appetite, slow digestion, slow metabolism. Everything is kind of sluggish, stagnant. They're just not hungry. They can skip a meal and it is no big deal. They basically, everything just slows down and gets stuck. And you don't want that. I meet a lot of people and they're like, yeah, I just don't eat that meal. I don't need to, I'm not hungry. And it tells me I really need to increase their digestive fire. I need to get the fire going so that digestion increases and metabolism then will increase. So for that Kapha individual, their digestive issues show up in the stomach. Well, what we do with the cleanse is we're trying to remove the excesses. So the excesses are going to show up based on your constitution. We'll say excess dosha, excess vata, it's going to be in the large intestines. We got to remove that. Excess pitta, it's going to be in the small intestines. We need to remove the excess. And then excess kapha is going to be in the stomach, and we need to remove that. Okay, that's what the cleanse is doing. And if we don't remove them, what will happen is that excess dosha will continue to build in the body. And then it shows up in other ways. And like I had said earlier in other talks, it just moves deeper into the systems and the tissues of the body, right? Starts out in digestion and then starts going deeper if we don't deal with it. The cleanse is helping to reverse, turn the disease pathway around. So with the cleanse, which is also called panchakarma, by the way, the follow-up practices at the end of the cleanse, after the first stage, after the second stage, after purgation, and purgation is where you remove the excesses of the doshas. Once that happens, then you have a whole bunch of different follow-up practices, and they're all around helping to bring digestion back into balance, because sometimes it'll go off after purgation. And so you need to help the person with some digestive herbs get that digestive fire back into balance. We don't want it being variable. We don't want it being too hot, and we don't want it being too low. Okay, we want it to be nice and steady. It's time to eat. I'm hungry. I eat, right? And you have enough digestive fire to break down those foods and absorb those nutrients. Okay, so we've got to do that first. That usually takes a couple days. And then we rejuvenate. And I do have some notes here, and I want to make sure I go over this because this part of the stage is important. And one of the things that typically happens with people is they just go back into their old habits. And, you know, it's kind of like you just wasted all those weeks of doing a cleanse to bring your body back into balance, to go back into your old habits. You're not serving your body. You're just building up the excesses and the imbalances again. So what we do is we rejuvenate. And that would include some of the rejuvenation treatments. We want to help build the ojas, which is your vital reserves. And then we do yoga, so asanas, pranayama, meditation. We have gentle exercise during this week because we don't want to push that body too out of balance. We want to be more gradual in how we go back into our regular life. We do have adjustments in the diet, and that's individual. So I can't really like give you too much information on that because it's based on each person. And also we want to make sure we do the treatments. And I like to talk about the bliss treatment. I usually try to do that for every single person that is doing the rejuvenation phase. When I did the rejuvenation phase at a treatment center, I did 3 days in a row of bliss therapy. Most people are coming in and doing 1, but if you can do 2 or 3 rejuvenations in that last week, it's pretty darn fantastic. It's like you will feel like $1 million. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of read a little bit here. What we do is after the cleanse, after we've removed the toxins, we then want to bring digestion back into balance. And then to maintain health, you want to basically keep a nice, steady diet and lifestyle that is in harmony with your dosha. And that is all based on like your constitution. So your dosha, your constitution. And you establish one that is, you have a really good idea of what that is. And that's why I always tell everybody, you got to do an assessment. We got to do an assessment. You can't just dive into a cleanse without an assessment, because if I don't know what your constitution is, it's a total disservice for me to just give you a cleanse. Like, I'm going to do an online course for everybody, but I'm still going to require an assessment because I don't want to not guide somebody in a way that would be best for them. I really want people to get the most and the best out of the cleanse. All right. So once you allow that to happen and you've implemented the lifestyle and the diet that's appropriate for you, you don't want to substitute them and go back into your bad habits. Because what happens is if you return to your bad habits, your condition will go back to what it was, it will worsen. And then what you're doing is we just rejuvenated the whole body down to your cells. And now your cells are revitalized and it's able to heal the body. If you go back into your old habits, into your bad habits, then that healing energy that you just brought to the surface, you're basically just erasing it. That's what you're doing. Your body then now has to deal with toxins again, stagnation again, the imbalances again, the doshas starting to build up again. And you want to sustain and maintain that clean diet, that clean lifestyle appropriate for your constitution, of course, so that your body can continue to heal and support you. And you're then continuing to help reverse that disease pathway. So yes, the cleanse turns it around, but you want to further support the body even after the cleanse so that your body is efficient and continues to heal. It's most important if you're doing those body treatments, do them at the end so that you have the most successful cleanse possible. And if you're ready, like I said, you could do more than one treatment, and I would recommend that. And also doing a yoga practice that's appropriate to your constitution, not just any old practice, one that is appropriate for you. And that also is something that's based on your constitution. Now that you have rebuilt, now that you've cleansed, and you are now in the process of rebuilding once you're done with the cleanse. And that way you don't re-damage the tissues and you're able to move towards strength, rejuvenation, vitality. And that's what we want. We want to get vibrant and alive. We want our cells to do what they're meant to do and not be bogged down by our poor lifestyle and diet choices. So that's basically the gist. There's a lot of rejuvenation herbs that we use, but that's all, again, specific to the individual. Rejuvenation is diet, lifestyle, treatments, herbs. There's a lot of stuff you do, and you might need to continue it for a while and really try to stick with that healthy, harmonious way of living. Is totally worth it. It's just like people who do a regular diet. They go on a diet, they lose weight, and then they go back to their old ways and they gain all the weight back. Because the truth is, when you go on a diet, it's a lifestyle. You have to change all of it, and you have to keep those changes going. You don't just do it and give it up after a few weeks. You have to stick with it. You have to be committed to your own health for the rest of your life. So that's basically the last stage, which is rejuvenation. It's a pretty wonderful stage because it's all about helping support the body, and you get these wonderful treatments. They feel fabulous. They're really great for your body, and they help clear the mind. They're just very, very wonderful for supporting your health. Okay, so if you have any questions, reach out to me. That's that last stage. I have a lot to say about it because I really, really don't want people to go back to their old ways. I want you to stick with supporting your health, okay? Supporting your health. Okay, all right, if you have questions, reach out to me. Thank you, guys.